I want to show you a tasty, healthy dish that you can make at home in just a few easy steps. Chicken and dumpling soup, a healthier twist on the classic comfort food, chicken and dumplings. If you want to get kids involved in the kitchen, or you are new to cooking yourself, this is a good recipe to start with. It uses a lot of simple knife skills, as well as some other processes you'll use for other dishes. Food safety is important, so before we get started, we want to make sure that you wash your hands well. The first step of this recipe is to chop up 1 medium onion, 4 medium peeled carrots, and 1 stalk of celery. Here you can see I'm showing my daughter steps for how to safely chop an onion. On this first one, I will do the steps to allow her to easily chop. You can see she's keeping her fingers out of the way for me and using the claw formation. And she's cutting all the way down to the cutting board. My younger daughter is able to help me with peeling the carrots. You can see she is supporting the carrot on the cutting board and peeling away from her body with her other hand. She is turning it as she goes. I'm helping her by holding part of the carrot, but she is able to do this by herself after a little practice. My son is going to help me chop carrots. Anytime you're cutting something that's round or cylinder, it helps if you start by cutting it long ways to split it in half. This gives you a nice flat surface to continue chopping. First, I demonstrate it and then let him take over. Be sure you're keeping your other hand and fingers out of the way. We would then chop the celery in the same way. Now we'll start cooking. With 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pot, add the onion, celery, and carrots, and give it a quick stir. We'll let this simmer for about 5 minutes. Next, we can add 2 quarts of chicken stock to the pot as well. We'll then add 2 cups of shredded chicken breast, half a teaspoon of whole black peppercorns, 2 teaspoons of dried thyme leaves, and 2 bay leaves. Give everything a stir, cover it loosely, and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. For this batch, we baked a whole chicken and shredded the breast with forks. You can use store-bought chicken breast or canned chicken instead. While our soup is simmering, we're going to make the dumplings. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 teaspoons of baking soda in our bowl. And now we'll add 3/4 of a cup of milk and 1 egg. We mix everything really well with a spatula to start, and then as the dough comes together, we might want to switch to using our hands to do a little bit more of the mixing. This is kind of a sticky job, but it can be fun too, especially if you can get your kids involved. When you're done, it will look something like this. Next, we need to roll it out to about 1/2 to 3/4 an inch thick. A good trick here is if you put it between 2 sheets of plastic wrap, it'll contain the mess and keep the dough from sticking to your rolling pin. Once it's rolled out, you can either use a knife or your fingers or a cookie cutter to cut out the dumplings to the size that you would like. Once the dumplings are cut out, we're going to add them to our pot. If you don't want to make dumplings, you can also substitute egg noodles. After adding the dumplings, cover the pot and let it cook for 20 minutes. Since we were just handling raw eggs, it's a good idea to wash our hands again. Our last ingredient is to add coarsely chopped kale. You can chop this pretty roughly, and if you prefer a different type of green, you can certainly use that. After our dumplings have cooked for about 20 minutes, you can see they are floating on top. We're going to just add the kale right on top of that mixture and let it simmer for about 5 more minutes. The last official step before we eat is to try and pick out the peppercorns and the bay leaves as much as possible. This can be kind of hard, but do your best. and at last we can serve and enjoy. This is a great recipe because it has less sodium than store-bought, it includes a lot of great fresh vegetables, and it can be a fun dish for kitchen newbies and kid helpers. It's also great to store in the fridge and heat up for a quick hearty meal during the week. As you can see from my taste testers, it definitely passes the test.